You made a tremendous football decision to join us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics, because our guest is the incomparable Orlando Brown. Man, this guy, for as great a football player as he is on the football field, he's even more of a dynamic human being. And I'm telling you, the Bengals' first-round pick, Amarius Mims, has a mentor extraordinaire in Orlando Brown and Trent Brown. They're both the same body type. These two players, the Browns, they've won Super Bowls. They've played in the Pro Bowl. It's the new Cincinnati skyline. It's the land of the Giants. And Orlando Brown is excited about it, and you will be too. Welcome once again to In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. We are in the new building at First Star Logistics. This is the maiden voyage in the new studio at First Star Logistics. So I wanted somebody special to be our first guest, and there's nobody more special than Orlando Brown. He has joined us a few times. It is always unbelievable, and we're going to kind of try to get that knowledge from Orlando Brown once again, because there's a lot there, no question about it. Big man, how you doing? Appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate you, man. I thought something was up. I looked on camera. I'm like, that backdrop is a little different. That's pretty fresh, man. That's pretty fresh.
So, the National Football League draft has become a multi-favorite holiday of mine. I mean, it's one of the best days or few days of the year. I saw a stat where people bet more on the outcome of different picks, who took who in the NFL draft, than on the NBA and NHL games combined. That's how big the NFL draft has gotten.
Well, I mean, that's where the sport has gone, man. It's kind of it's weird to think about, the growth of football, period. Just in terms of the amount of money that these college kids make, you know what I mean? And now it's with the transfer portals and, kids are starting to have to play earlier. It's almost how I would imagine Europeans treat basketball and soccer, for their kids, and, the growth of that sport over there, in that country. Football's kind of getting to that point now where you may see a Cincinnati Bengals youth league 40 years from now, you know what I mean? That is connected to, the Brown family, which is, super cool and interesting to think about.
No doubt. No question about it. All right. So I know you're a huge student of the game. I mean, not only a phenomenal player, but man, you study the game. And I know we talked before the draft about guys that were eligible to be drafted at the offensive tackle position, and you had a lot of good things to say about Amarius Mims, I should say. Yeah. So when the Bengals took him at number 18, what was your immediate thought, big man?
Oh no, man! Super excited for him, man. It's obviously always a special moment anytime you get drafted, but he comes into a great situation here in Cincinnati. Being able to be the younger player, to have two guys with similar measurables to learn from that are older. Obviously, man, Trent's older than me, being 31. I'll be 28 here in a few days. It's a great situation for Amarius to come into and be able to, sit back and learn and be able to, maintain his edge while also taking things from myself, things from Trent, and to elevate his game. And the thing that I'm most excited for, man, is he seems like such a great guy. Just talking to him, getting to know his mom and dad. He's somebody, man, that I think really loves the game of football, and his attention to detail is pretty serious. And it's obviously not a lot of red flags. That's why he goes 18 in the draft. But, I think he's going to come in right away, man, and be a great fit for our locker room and our organization.
It was a class act by you, and I would expect nothing less, I should say, for you to come down and meet him and meet his parents like you did, and to make them feel welcome. And it was great to see. And I know the Mims family really appreciated you and really appreciated what you did. They left Cincinnati with a great feeling about the city, and definitely a great feeling about Orlando Brown. No doubt about that. It's the new Cincinnati skyline, the offensive tackle position with the Cincinnati Bengals, man.
It
It's
is.
the land of the Giants, the new the offensive tackle position of the Cincinnati Bengals. And when you say that he has you guys as mentors in how to use his size properly and avoid the pitfalls, that, okay, make sure that you don't do this because this could be the outcome. What kind of things might you be talking about? Just making sure you emphasize using your leverage properly and those sort of things?
Yeah, just a wide variety of things, man. Best example I can give you is Frank always talks about there not being one way to skin a cat. There's multiple ways to skin a cat. And he's implying, whether that be run game, pass game, footwork, hand placement, all those different things. There isn't just one way to do them. And so as a rookie, I remember we had joint practices against the Los Angeles Rams, and Andrew Whitworth happened to be the left tackle there. And, this is a guy that I've modeled my game after because we have similar measurables in terms of size and length and, athleticism. And so I would study a lot of his film. So I had a lot of questions for him, asking him, hey, why do you hold your hands down low in pass pro? And, he said, I'll never forget, he was like, man, I'm 6'8". I'm a tall guy. It helps with my balance. It gives me the comfortability, sometimes when I feel a little rushed, it gives me that comfortability for balance. And so, there's times that I think you may see me even, be late with my hands. Now there's negative things to that, but I definitely think that being able to learn from two people that are likewise in terms of size, height, length, body, all of those and types of players, it helps, because I didn't have Andrew Whitworth in there every day for me. There was things that I was able to take from Marshall Yonda, but I'm not a 6'3", 315-pound guy that's, quick as a cat. So it was certain things I could take from him, certain things I couldn't. And that's the uniqueness about the NFL as well is, in a way, Marshall Yonda couldn't do what I did. I couldn't do what he did. You know what I mean? And so I think with Amarius, man, he's extremely talented. He's way better athlete than I ever will be. And, I think that definitely is on his side as well.
Well, you're humble as usual because you are a very humble guy because you're a hell of an athlete, I think. and that's the thing. I mean, when I met him for a brief period of time, he reminded me of you in so many ways. I mean, the size, the personality, the character, all the intangibles as well as the measurables and the tangibles. It's almost like you guys are very, very well connected in a lot of areas. It's almost like it was meant to be. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I got my little brother here that is a big man that I'm going to be able to mentor a little bit.
Definitely, man. I definitely felt that connection as well. Just being able to speak to him, speak to his dad. I didn't get to speak to his mom much, but I spoke to his dad and just listened to everything he had to say about his son. And we went to dinner on what was that, Friday or Saturday? Being able to talk to him then and get to know him, man. I see the similarities too, in terms of mindset, determination. I think, he's just from talking to him, man, I feel like it's clear as day why they would make that pick, and he's got all the tools.
So dinner that night at Ruby's, that had to be interesting. A couple of big offensive linemen eating dinner. Was there anybody else at the dinner besides the family? Did Ted attend that dinner? Ted Karras?
Yeah, yep. Ted was there. Alex Kappa.
Wow.
Yep. EB was there. Eric Ball was there as well. And we're just able to, just kind of relate, man. We were watching the draft. The draft was on, so we were watching the second and third round pick, which was pretty cool. And that was fun. I enjoyed that, man. And just really getting to know him, and see asking him football questions about the game and Georgia was really cool.
Another thing that's very similar, and when I look at you guys, he has the 3.6 GPA, so he's intelligent, as are you.
Yeah.
I mean, that the raw intelligence and then football intelligence. I mean, it's all there. He's got a wingspan as long as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was high.
Wow.
Crazy.
It is crazy.
Man.
It is crazy. It'll come in handy too.
Yeah, and come in handy for sure. He did have a limited number of snaps, obviously, only 8 starts.
Yeah.
He's only 21 years old, though. 21 years, 5 months old. I mean, he's got some maturity left for sure.
Yeah.
402 pass blocking snaps opportunities. He only allowed 6 pressures, and he played in college football playoffs, national championship game. I mean, some of those starts were quality opposition, and I don't think you have access to, but I mean, a lot of people, the scouts obviously had access to the tape of practice when he's working against
Yeah.
5 offensive linemen while he was defensive linemen while he was there. Excuse me, that
Yeah.
got drafted in the first round. So I mean, he was going against a high caliber, player every single day that he was able to practice there, and if not for injuries, the old injury gods weren't kind to him when he was at Georgia. But the thing I liked about it, though, Orlando, is he stayed and competed.
Yeah. Yeah. He did.
Yeah, I think that's a trait that's pretty important.
Yeah, it is. It is, man. He's a competitor. As I said, I think he really loves the game, man. Just kind of what it brings and where he's from. I think it's a situation where he's a big guy and it's kind of all he's had. And so uh, he's got a very high work ethic as well, man. And as you mentioned, the GPA, he's got a great IQ, in a sense of football. Seems like in life too, man, just talking to him and some of the decisions that he's had to make. With some of the things that he shared with me personally, I got a lot of respect for him because it's hard to make it to this point, man. It's hard to be a first round pick, period. You know what I mean? It's hard to get to this point. And so, he's here and I think, man, he's going to do a lot of damage on this level too.
So, at the size and measurables of you guys, which is more challenging? Pass protection or run blocking at the NFL level that he's going to have to transition and adjust to, or are there things that you have to deal with in both?
Yeah, I think there's things you got to deal with in both, man. It's all a challenge in its own way. I know that we are a pass heavy offense, so pass protection is a little bit more important than your run game stuff, but it's not by much. I mean, we're talking 60-40 here, 55-45. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's not by much, man. And you will get embarrassed in the run game, which is just as bad as a feeling as giving up a sack. So I think they both kind of go hand in hand in terms of what it takes to be a really good pro.
So, what was your advice to him? He came in, met the media, met yourself, met other people in the organization.
Hmm.
What was your advice to him? Go home and start. How did you tell him, or what advice did you give him approaching, coming back for rookie mini camp, coming back for OTAs, and getting ready for training camp? Take me through some of the process things you might have advised him on.
Yeah, just man, getting it settled. One of the most important things, you played in the league, man. Lab. It's you want to be settled, and I think, and when I say settled, I'm talking off the field too. In terms of you want to be comfortable, looking for somewhere to stay, whatever your living situation is going to be, making everything as convenient as possible for the type of person you are. My rookie year in Baltimore, I lived about 25 minutes on highway, away from the facility. But I'm also from there. So I knew all the back roads when it snowed. I knew all the places to go when there was traffic. You know what I mean? I was, it was a different, situation and scenario for me because I got drafted to my hometown and I was able to live, outside of Owings Mills and live in, you by University of Towson where it's better restaurants and more to do for my family because I was from there. But, everything and everyone is circumstantial. But I think one of the most important parts as a young rookie player is first and foremost, finding the most comfortable situation for you. Some guys live right across the river in Kentucky and ride their bike over every day. That's because they know they can't do a drive every day. So, I get that. And I also mentioned to him about taking care of his body, man. Sometimes in this league, I think a lot of players and people forget coming in that some of the best productivity is availability. And if you can be available, a lot of times it's a lot of people that are willing to at least risk a little bit more than others. You know what I mean? Because you're available. And I think of Joe Thomas, how available he was. You know what I mean? The respect that comes with that. Brett Favre to this league, how available he was, the respect that comes with that. And so those are guys that, man, took a lot of pain and hits as well, but they invested into their body and their nutrition, massage work, whatever it may be. So I mentioned those two things to him. And then when it comes to the football, man, just be a sponge. being a rookie is not easy. Playing in the NFL is not easy. Playing offensive tackle in the NFL is so damn hard. But, you can minimize those things by being a sponge, taking everything that you can from everyone and using it to the best of your abilities, man. As I mentioned, Marshall Yanda was completely different in size to me, but he said something to me that always stuck in the run game. 3 points of contact, hands, face mask, and feet all hitting at the same time, and that made sense to me. You know what I mean? That the feeling of that made sense to me. So,
Yep.
that was kind of my advice that I gave him.
That's interesting because it's like a guy who has had the level of success you've had, Pro Bowl, Super Bowl, everything, every honor that you can accumulate, you've done.
Mm.
Did you give him any diet advice or any strength training? I mean, like, hey, one thing that you might want to incorporate in what you're doing in your workout program. I found that doing this really helped advance me, going against these behemoths in the National Football League. Anything like that, or is it too early?
Yeah, it's a little too early. He didn't mention anything to me about that yet, so I didn't really touch on it. I know that he's down there with Duke Manyweather in Dallas, so
Right.
and that's one of those things too, man. I'm a firm believer in kind of whatever works for you works for you. I take more of a defensive back approach, man, where I'm doing a lot of different movements within my hips and focusing on my physical therapy and strengthening program are cohesive. They go together. And so everything that I do in terms of foot strengthening, toe, ankle flexibility, dorsiflexion, calf flexibility, quad strength, glute strength, hip mobility, all of those things go hand in hand in the way that I approach the off season with my workouts and my body work.
So I know you're probably the kind of guy that I mean, if he asked you, and I know I was given some good advice by somebody that I respected that had played in the league when I did get drafted. It's like, look, don't go in there, shooting your mouth off about anything. Listen, ask
Oh, yeah.
questions. No question's a dumb question. And how many times do you hear that? But it is true. I mean,
It
there's
is.
no dumb question, right? I mean, if he has a question, I'm sure he'll come to you with it.
Oh, yeah, he definitely will. He definitely will, man. And we touched on that a little bit too. That's the unfamiliarity part of the NFL is, you kind of you're so used to playing in college or high school, you get to this level and it's more of a business than ever. And so it's a little easy to forget your position or I guess the dynamic of a football building and facility.
It is interesting watching how you not only reached out, you physically came down and were right there
Yeah.
with the Mims family. To me, I can't say I was surprised because Orlando Brown is a unbelievable human being, but it was just such a hell of a great gesture. I mean, it was amazing to see. And then so you bookend first round, and then the last pick, 237 is Matt Lee,
Yep.
a center out of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 51 college starts. So he was obviously productive, very athletic. I happened to be in the locker room when Ted Karras reached out to him by phone and heard their conversation, the same type of thing. Any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me and that sort of thing. So making guys like that comfortable, it's like, to me, it's classy that a guy who plays the same position that a guy got drafted at, it's like, all right, we're going to be teammates. And Ted's like, yeah, Matt Lee. I mean, yeah, he's probably going to try to take my job at some point, but I'm going to help him. That's what life in the National Football League's like, particularly at the offensive line position. It's like this. Everybody's like this, right?
Yeah, it has to be, man. It was from my experience as a rookie with James Hurst and Ronnie Stanley, they were open arms, man, with any information that I needed about life, football, weight room, body, strength and conditioning. They were completely open. Marshall Yanda was completely open. And James Hurst was in, somewhat of a strange situation with this young rookie coming in that's drafted in the third round. He just signed his new deal, and, he gets hurt. I go in, I'm playing, and he's still there, and that always stuck with me in terms of his approach and how positive he was and how honest and real he was. And so, it was extremely humbling for me as a young player to have someone like that. And so for me, man, coming up there, being able to meet him, meet his family, it was important for me to express my gratitude to him. Like, hey, man, I'm excited to work with you. And this is, and I'm sure, same reason Ted would call Matt. It's like, we're trying to get to New Orleans in February. I don't give a damn what it is, man. You guys can, it's like we are focused on what it takes to get there. And we know that at some point in time, these are guys, whether that be now, in the future, in the playoffs, late in the season, that we're going to have to rely on, that we're going to have to trust, because football is football. We all know that, and we know the things that come with it. And so, man, just wanted to express my gratitude. Man, I hate that the cameras were there, because I was just coming to see him after the press conference. I just assumed he'd be done and everything. That'd be like the last thing he had. And it's like a local media situation. I mean, that was his moment. You know what I mean? I wasn't trying to come there for any cameras or anything. I just wanted to come introduce myself to him and his family and let them know, man, that I'm excited to have him here and excited to get to work with him. But he's got a great dad, man. He's got a great dad. He's got a great foundation at home with both his parents and his relationship with them. And, that's so important for someone that's 21 and a half years old in his position.
You mentioned how there's two phases to it when you're a rookie, because you're going into a new environment, and Baltimore was your hometown.
Yep.
So the transition off the football field was maybe a little bit more smooth for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got a lot to deal with, transition to the National Football League, on the field, play, practice, all that. But boy, when it's new in both arenas, it's like, man, I really don't know what I don't know in terms of where I'm going to be, what I'm going to be doing, where I'm staying in Cincinnati, and I got to show well on the football field, learn this. There's a lot to sort through. Your head's spinning when you're a young buck like that.
You are, man. It is. And you are somewhat confused. It's an unfamiliar feeling. I related to, somewhat when you first get to college, and you're kind of trying to find your way. You're trying to figure out, your role in this, and it's the workouts and it's class at that time. Well, now you're coming into, as I mentioned, man, it's a business. You're walking into a situation where, for him, man, he's a first round pick. The expectations are high. The media case has been built that, he's got two guys of similar stature to learn from. All of these different things that create pressure go into that. And so, for him, man, just figuring out a way to make it as less stressful as possible, as comfortable as he can be, to allow him to go out there and just be himself when he hits the field, man. That's kind of what's most important.
In the middle of the draft, I guess maybe more toward the top end, you have Jermaine Burton, a wide receiver out of Alabama, that first round talent, and there was some, competitive scenarios, I guess, off the football field that maybe caught up with him a little bit. That made him, slide to the third round. The Bengals get him at number 80. And I'm telling you, man, watching this guy on tape, he takes the top off the defenses in the SEC, the way he can track and adjust to a football. I couldn't find a drop, man. He caught everything. And, he's worked with TJ Hushmanzada, so he's got little subtleties to his route tree that are like, whoa, man. I mean, this guy's pretty polished. How excited are you to have another weapon like that potentially as part of your offense?
Super excited, man. And them taking him at pick 80 kind of lets you know everything. He's a special talent. I'm sure he's somebody, man, that's going to come in with the right mindset. He went to Georgia, Alabama, so he knows, what it takes, and which means he's a winner. And, man, when you got that type of mentality, I think his Instagram name's DB Assassin. Shit, this guy's going to fit in perfect, man, with what we do.
So How excited are you? You're in the workout phase of it now. Mandatory OTAs will be coming here shortly, and then training camp will be here before everybody knows it. But what are you going to do? You still have a little bit of time to yourself and recharge the battery from a personal standpoint. Any big plans for Orlando Brown in that regard?
No, none for me, man. None for me. I'll just be around here. Probably get to a few more Reds games. Other than that, that's it, man. I'll just be resetting a little bit here and hanging out with the kids, man. That's it.
That's awesome. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you're an unquestioned team leader. There's no two ways about that. And the Bengals organization dealt with the draft like they've been dealing with it here in the recent past. The scouting department and the coaching staff combining big time programs, Georgia's of the world, Michigan's of the world, big time programs competing for national championships, multiple captains, again, drafted. They seem to have a formula that's working. I mean, man, your guys' locker room, Orlando, I would say that I would feel comfortable putting it up from a overall, you pick a category, talent, character, you pick a category, Bengals locker room's up there with anybody's, man.
It is, man. And, I think when you build the character of a locker room like they have, great things are going to happen. And so, it's all about on this level, making sure you get the right men, because every NFL locker room is different. Every organization is different. I would say the Cincinnati Bengals organization is one that is ran like a true NFL program, and they allow you to be yourself, which means that they have to bring in the right guys with the right characteristics, hard workers, guys that are professionals, and that they see the potential of being a professional. I think of guys like Mike Hilton is a professional. Dax Hill is a pro. He's a guy that works his tail off, man, that loves the game. He's a professional, and I know that they drafted him. Miles Murphy, a professional. He's got everything that it takes to have the right career, because of his characteristics. And so when you find the right men, and then the talent matches and the football player matches that, and the potential is all there, that's kind of what they've continued to build, man, here in Cincinnati, and I'm very blessed to be a part of it.
Well, I'm glad you feel blessed to be a part of it, because, man, the city of Cincinnati is so blessed and fortunate to have you as a professional athlete in this city, in this area. I mean, you are one class act, my man, and I appreciate the heck out of everything you do.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Lap. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate your time as always. It's man, football conversation with Orlando Brown is always at that high level, man. I love it. You're the best.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you, guys.
Have a great one.
Yep, you too.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realize self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.